Alright guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Chris, and last week in Gualdo, Tadino, Italy, on the 17th of June 2023, I became the WSA International Champion and the WSA European Champion. Before we go into my experience, my mindset, and all the details that you hardcore competition shooters want to know, let's watch the final 3 rounds of the European Championship together, and then we'll go over everything else. Now, okay, so this is the semi-final. Tet Leary's recording this for me on my spare phone. Thank you, Tet, for doing this for me. The support I had from the English team was, you know, priceless to me here. So Jan's just blocking out my targets. I've just hit my first one. I'm going through my aiming cycle. I'll discuss all that after we watch this. I've hit my first target. I've hit my second target. I've just said to the judge here, I've had a target fall forward on me, which was an issue. So they've let the adjudicators know, once everybody has released the shot that they're currently aiming at, they're going to stop and they're going to straighten out my target for me. Stretching my lower back, tension in my lower back, stress causes me to stand funny. Any kind of pain at all that you have here is going to bless my face, praying for help. Any stress or pain you have here affects you, so I'm constantly having to stretch my lower back. That's due to work and just been on my feet all day here at this competition. So I'm always just focused on the current target I'm aiming at. I'm not focused on my score, the last target, the next target, my competitors to my left or right, none of that. But a tactic I have is to be faster than my competitors without infringing too much. I'm not trying to speed shoot, but I want to have targets, more targets down than my competitors. Because it's hard when you miss my last one here. But 40 is a good score in this scenario, and it's incomparable knocking these down compared to shooting a spinner in your garden. Very often, when shooting on my 40mm spinner in my catch box, I'll hit it 15 times without missing. And you know, to go here to Italy and do 3s, 4s and 5s, you're up there if you're doing that. First target down. So there's 3 of us here. This is the semi-final. Previous round was the quarter-final. I think I said it was the semi-final earlier. This is the quarter-final. First target down, second target down. I have a lead on my opponents in the number of targets I have down. We have to stop the shooting again to straighten out a target, which is hard on everybody. They freeze the time. We had a 2.5 minute limit to shoot targets. So if you don't shoot your shots within 2.5 minutes, you have to, you'll forfeit whatever targets you haven't hit in that time. That just let the pressure build in me a little bit. I'm going through my aiming cycle. We'll discuss my aiming cycle after this. So I've missed my 3rd one. So in the semi-final I've scored 40. In the quarter-final, sorry, I keep misspeaking there. Quarter-final I scored 40. This is the semi-final. So I'm currently on 30. I have another target fall forward on me. So we're waiting until everybody else releases their current shot. We're pausing the time limit to straighten up that target for me, because that target with that target tilted forward, if you glance it, it isn't going to go down. If it doesn't go down, you don't get your score. This already happened to me in previous rounds a couple of times, where I glanced a tilted forward target and didn't get a score. So a bit disappointed in myself there, but I don't let it get me down with a score of 30. and a score of 30 is still probably above average in these circumstances here in the knockout stages. So this is the final of the European Championships between me and Oscar I want to say Colorado, but I know it's not right. Colado, I think, something like that. My mindset here is just super focused. It's so hard to describe. I'm going to go through my aiming cycle and everything after this. I'm purposely trying to be faster than Oscar here, although it's, you know, Spaniards do take a long time to shoot, and I'm going into this final with the lead on Oscar. So Oscar, you know, would have to have shot, I think, 2 targets more than me in this round, possibly 3 targets more than me to win this. My second last shot is a miss, so I'm currently on 30 points. Last shot for me, Oscar still has 4 targets standing, and I've just put my last target down. So I come away, people wanted to applaud me, but we're giving Oscar silence. Telling Tet, good man Tet, keep recording. Marco gives me a nod, and then I'm thinking, what's he told me? Turn round, he's telling me I've won. So it doesn't matter if Oscar hits the rest of his targets. I had a good enough lead going into it. Posing for a picture, a real poser. And I'm just still trying to... it's so hard to even remember what was going through my head in this moment. Oscar's definitely a phenomenal shot, and the Spaniards are phenomenal shooters. And what I like about them is that they have their own developed traditional style of aiming. Oscar's let his last shot go. Marco announces that I'm the winner. And this is the first stage of the day whenever I'm letting myself sort of feel any emotion at all. Jan Novak, Michael Danis came in third, Oscar in second. I've managed to win. It's just Skip Man's telling me there something. He comes over to me congratulating me. Just what an experience. Tears in my eyes there. You know, it did mean a lot to me. He's telling me there in 2018 you were drunk and now you've won. And what a crowd it was. A lot of people had went outside at this stage because it had been a long day of shooting. And even the length of time we had been shooting, now we had been shooting at this stage for 10 hours and it was strenuous. But yeah, I loved it. All right guys, so first of all, if you've watched that far in, thank you. We're going to be talking here now for another minute or two because I've got a lot of stuff I want to say, a lot of stuff I want to go over. And you know, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and drop me a comment. I've received tons of lovely messages, comments on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. You know, people saying they're proud of me and the support I've been getting, and you know, it just means the world to me. And I want to thank you guys ever so much for being on this journey with me. Right, so first things first, let's talk about my setup. This is the frame I was using. This is my Titan Hunter S90 with a 275 snakeskin wrap. 275 pound paracord, which is a 2mm paracord, and my S90, and this is like my own pro version of the medium Titan Hunter because I wanted the slightly more compact handle, and I was encouraged by several people to make this model. Wes Mitchell, Brad Golden, thank you guys pushed me to make this, and now I've won major titles with it, so thank you. Bands, Sniper Sling black bands. These bands are 15.5 centimeters active length. tapered 19mm to 11mm. My normal target setup is 20 to 12. I knew going into this 20 to 12 would be too much, so I decided a few weeks before, when I had it booked, I was going to make my bands 10mm longer. But as me and Ken discussed in a previous episode of Slinging It, that I don't want a maxed out band, but I like the Sniper Sling Black because it's got like a wall, it's got like a point where, you know, you feel that that's where I'm drawn to. And with the added 10mm length, I didn't have that. So I decided to scrap the 10mm longer 20 to 12, and I went back to my standard draw length with the Sniper Sling Black, but instead of 20 to 12, I went 19 to 11, so I lost 1mm of the band either side, which does make a nice difference. And even then, my bands and my setup, these bands were shooting 8mm steel, were hitting the targets hard. They were hitting the targets hard, and you know, I was even vibrating the target stand. These are the pouches I was using. I love these pouches because these two holes here, either side of the center hole, is fantastic for ball placement, and it's another reference point on the pouch as to where the pouch is gripped. You can feel them little holes when the ball's in it. Now, a lot of people ask me why was the rounds been paused and the targets being adjusted, because this setup was smashing targets down so hard that it was causing targets next to it to fall forward ever so slightly. And in previous rounds this had happened to me, where the target would fall forward ever so slightly, and I would glance the shot, I would glance the target, and the target would just straighten back up. Now, the rules were the target had to go down to score. So it happened to me once. I was just like, looked at the judge was like, you're not getting it, it didn't go down. I was like, fair enough, you know, it's a one-off, it's not going to happen again. It happened the second time on a 40mm target, which is a 10-point target. And I looked at the judge and I was like, you know, I hit that. And because the judge looked at me as we looked at each other at the same time, like, and she was like, it didn't go down. And I was like, yeah, but it fell forward. You know, it was quite clear it fell forward. There was even slightly less of the target shown. So I decided to go over to Margot and the main adjudicators at the table, who were keeping count of the time and the scores and, you know, doing the announcing, etc. And I explained this, you know, in the language barrier there. And I don't want to be like stroppy or whatever, but like, you know, this is me down 20 points on this. So anyway, Margot said, look, can't give you that 40mm, it just happened to you on. He says, but if it happens again, we're aware of the issue now, and if it happens again, we'll pause the round and we'll straighten them up for you, which they had to do several times, as you guys may be seeing in the live stream. If you want to watch the live stream, we've got live streams of I've got a live stream of the preliminary rounds and live stream of the finals. Unfortunately, my battery died in the end, in the semi-final or something like that. Getting the target straightened out for me was, I'm grateful that happened. These target systems, by the way, are Chinese target systems. They're precise target systems. They're good target systems. They're automatic, remote controlled. The hinge on them is they're a great system. That was just the one little flaw in it, you know. And I suspect that they hadn't been. You know, these targets had took a lot of shots this day. You got to remember that, and heavy setups. You know, they're Chinese target systems. The Chinese shoot at them, and the Chinese 6 and 7mm is more popular, a lot more popular. And you know, the Italian setups. The Italians had been using these targets, and the Italian setups as well are considerably slower and less powerful than this setup. So that's what that was, and I had comments on that. Okay, so my mindset was one of no emotion, or as blocked out and little emotion as possible. I wasn't allowing myself to have negative thoughts creep in, and I wasn't really allowing myself to get carried away with I'm doing good, or you know, I could win this, or my shooting's good, or you know, in previous rounds. So say I had a bad round, and I did have a couple of rounds where in the preliminary stages, where I left 2 targets standing, which it's okay, it's not great. You don't want to do it too often, that's what I mean. You don't let that put you down. You don't drop the head because of this. You have to block that out. On the other side of that as well, whenever I had several rounds where I wiped out all my targets, which I was thrilled to do, but I can't allow myself to feel too thrilled. You know, you knock out all your targets in a round and the crowd applauds you, and you know, I put my hand up and nodded to the crowd, thank you, but I don't want to allow myself to feel too much, because feelings is why you miss. Because it doesn't feel right, it doesn't, you know, I feel nervous, or I feel like I'm going to hit it. You can't do any of that. You have to just, you can't focus on the man beside you, you can't focus on the man at the other side of you, you can't be thinking about your score, you can't be thinking about who's watching you, you can't be thinking about your previous target, you can't be thinking about your next target, you can't be thinking about the last round, the next round, none of that. Everything, your whole brain must be focused on the center of your current target. It's key. My stance was shoulder width apart, square to the target. I got slagged a few comments on YouTube and Instagram for wearing the sandals. Listen, I love my sandals, and there's a reason for the sandals. My toes can spread out in the sandals. Toes spread out, pressed down, and more balanced, you know, and I'm going to get into wearing barefoot shoes. I've got a couple of pairs ordered, and Olympic archers wear 0 drop shoes and wide shoes to be connected properly with the ground. Your foundation is important. Somebody very wittingly said on Instagram, I like your Jesus creepers. Thank you very much. These are Lidl's finest, if anybody's interested in wearing the same sandals as me. $14.99. And you know what? I loved them, and it was roasting hot in Italy. Roasting hot. I'm an Irishman, I'm not used to them temperatures. Sweating, I was sweating like a pig. So, you know, anything, every little helps. Jan Novak, my good friend Jan, was very kindly sharing liquid chalk with me. You know, chalk, you would see guys using it, they would chalk their hands before a deadlift or whatever. Weightlifters use them commonly. So I was chalking here, here, and here, because my anchor point was actually sticking to my face. Yeah, so the chalk, Jan, thanks for sharing your chalk with me. And Jan was right up in the top 10 the whole time, and you know, the Czech team were major competitors. Michael Danis, who came in second in the international, competition, was actually leading nearly the whole way through, and he has been shooting for a short space of time. I just think it was my experience and mindset that gave me the edge on him in the end. But you know, definitely a very worthy of his place, and I'm sure he's going to do extremely well in the future. The Czech team won the team event, by the way, and in 2018 the Czech team were nowhere near it. So the advancements that they have had in their skill level since 2018 to 2023 is the best I've ever seen. I've never seen it. I've never witnessed people who go from average or below average to world class in that time, or in any time scale. I haven't seen it before, so well done to the Czech team. Right, so my stance, square. And as soon as I get to my shooting station, I'm looking at my target. I'm focused on my first target. When I load the pouch, I've showed you me crocodile pouches, the green ones I use. I don't need to look at that to load it. If you're looking at your pouch, you know, oh, am I holding that right and all this? I don't need to do that. I know exactly by feel that the pouch is loaded correctly and the ball's in place correctly. I don't need to look at it. I can just do it by feeling. I've built that up with experience. The reason I don't look at it is because, again, for me, if I'm looking at it, I'd be, oh, is that right? Is that where that should be? Second guessing. And when I get into my stance and I'm loading, I can load perfect by feel. But as soon as I'm on the line, I'm looking at the first target, I'm looking dead center in it. Dead center of it. I'm visualizing a fly, a little black fly in the center of that white target. So load, my pouch hold is between the tip of my index finger and my thumb. And with the little holes in the pouch, I know exactly where they need to be. So load, the whole time, I'm not taking my eye off the center of the target. When I draw simultaneously pushing the catapult out and bringing the bands back. Now, when I get to my anchor, and this is a new thing I've started doing, on top of my controlled movement, which I'll get into because we'll get into controlled movement, shaking is a major problem for top level target shooting. Nerves get the better of everybody, including me. I didn't shoot perfect rounds the whole way through, and I was shaking. So when I draw up, simultaneously pushing the catapult out and bringing the anchor point back, what I do when I get to my cheekbone is I rock the anchor point in. I rock it in, seat it in nicely. And I've watched a lot of archers do that, and we can learn things from top level archers. Rocking it in, seated it in nicely, and seated my anchor point in exactly where it needed to be every time, which is crucial, as you know. So my aiming cycle, and I've talked about this, controlled movement, I've talked about this before. My aiming cycle, so in the past, I've told you about controlled movement. So what I do is, I normally go up beyond the target, back down, and up again. And whenever I get up, I release. Now, I wanted to slow it down a bit for this competition for a few different reasons. I have to go through in my mind, everything's correct. Frank Shanley said to me a few times, I've noticed you refusing a shot. There was times whenever I was at full draw and I was aiming and I took it away, it didn't feel right. And I know from experience, when it doesn't feel right and you let it go, you miss. So I was purposely aiming a little bit longer. But again, controlled movement, I wasn't trying to hold steady on the target. Try to hold steady on the target whenever you're in the finals and you're aiming at a 40mm and you've got a crowd behind you with bated breath, you're going to shake. To battle the shaking, you use the controlled movement. So what I done, instead of up beyond the target, back down and up, was, we'll go through it. So up beyond the target, back down, up, back down, up slowly, center of the target, release. Okay, so up, down, up, release. This is what I done every single time, and it served me very well. And I just wanted to slow it down that little bit more to give myself time to focus on the center of the target and visualize my shot. The power of visualization is a very, very, it's such a powerful tool. So I'm visualizing a fly, a little black fly in the center of the white target for every target. So my seat even in the multiple size ones, my target, my imaginary target, which is the black fly in the center of the target, is the same size in every target, whether it's an 80mm or a 40mm. Now, whenever I'm out and I'm trying to do a trick shot, or I'm trying to hit a tic-tac or a mint or whatever, I'll notice that if I miss, it's so small. It's such a slight miss. It's only off by a little bit, 10mm, 20mm. So if I'm aiming at a little imaginary black fly in the middle of a 40mm, I might miss the fly, but I'm still hitting the target. You guys know what I mean. And also another thing I want you to visualize is right on the moment before you release, visualize the shot slamming the center of the target. This is a really, really powerful tool. There's something going on there with your neurochemistry. You're getting your mind into a mode to do it, you know, and it's hard to even verbalize these concepts. Trust me, it works. Visualize that shot, control that movement. If it doesn't feel right, refuse the shot. Start again. That's my advice to you. You know, I stretched a lot throughout the day. Stretched like this, that, both rear delts and traps. I was squatting down with my heels on the ground as low as I could to stretch the tension in my lower back. I was going like this with my hands to get blood into my hands. I never for a second let a negative thought creep into my mind. Never for a second. And you know, like I said, I'm not thinking about anything else other than my current target. You have to shoot without an ego. You can't go in there thinking, I'm going to win this, or I'm the best, or I can beat him, or I'm better than him, or, oh wow, I just shot a maximum round, I could win this. That's setting you up for, you're putting yourself on a pedestal that's very easy to fall off. Do you understand? Focus on your current target only. I can't stress that enough, you know, and you see a lot of guys, and between shots, they're looking round, what's that guy doing, what's that guy doing? They're looking back at their friends in the crowd, you know, they're looking at their judge, they're talking to their judge. You can't do that. Well, you can do it, but you need, it takes a lot of psychological power to perform these shots perfectly in order for you to get to your best. Now, that experience has helped me a great deal, and next time I'm at a competition, I think I'll be able to do this stuff better. This stuff is experience-based. This stuff is, if you haven't been to a competition before, this is another thing. It's like a natural skill, or it can be an acquired skill, and it's a skill that will have to be kept sharp. You might not be able to do this. You might not be able to do this straight off the bat, but it'll come with experience. And the crucial thing is to not put yourself down if you don't do something right, or what you perceive to be the right thing. There's always another shot. There's always the next target. There's always the next competition. You know, I have had this experience in Italy in 2018. You know, my bands broke. I lost all the points for that round, and I could have came back from that and placed in the top 10. I know that now, looking back, but I didn't, because I let it all get to me, you know, and I threw it all away. So learn from my mistakes. These are acquired skills. Look, thank you, all you guys, thank you so much for your lovely messages, your kind messages of support and praise and all the rest. I really, really appreciate it. This is a a dream come true for me, staggering. And I'm going to cover it again. You guys are probably going to be sick listening to it. If you want me to go over any of these further, elaborate on any of these further, or if there's something I've missed on, please let me know and I'll go over it again. I wanted to do an episode of Slinging It with Ken or Paul today, but just the way the timing's worked out, it hasn't been able to happen. But I wanted to get a bit of a video up, a bit of a vlog up, and just go over my experience. I know a lot of guys are big into the competition scene, and you know, it's just a shame there's not more content. Billy Colton, my mate from the English team, he's got more footage to send me of the international finals. And I'll share that with you guys. But that's one more thing before it works, because it's like international champion, European champion, how did that work? So it was the preliminary stages. Once we found the top 30 competitors overall, and the international competition was over and the places were decided, then for the European Championship, the scores reverted back to the top 30 Europeans. And then we shot the same knockout rounds again. And I'm very pleased to have done well in both of these. And I'm not going to let my head inflate too much, because I'm going to go to Shanghai and I'm going to do my best. And no doubt, it very well may be a humbling experience for me. But, you know, I know what I can do, and I think I can do well. Listen, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Like, comment. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe already. And if you've made it to the end of this video, you're a true fan. Fan, I don't really like that word. Supporter, whatever you want. Thank you. Catch you next time.